Hey, good morning, South Lake. I wanted to take a moment and talk with you. This video is going to be a little bit longer than normal for reasons you'll understand in a moment, but we have to have a conversation. COVID is getting out of control in this country. The numbers are staggering. We are over 240,000 people that have lost their lives. We are approaching 250,000 people that have died from COVID. The numbers in Indiana are staggering. As of the past few weeks, it has been like a skyrocket with the numbers. They have just gone up, and they look like they are going to continue to go up. In response to that, the governor is going to be announcing either today or tomorrow new restrictions that are going to be placed upon the state. We are not locking everything down, but there will certainly be more restrictions that are coming. When we look at Lake and Porter counties in particular, our numbers are greatly increased. As many of you are aware, Maggie's a nurse at Porter. The hospital is almost at capacity. The ICU is at capacity. It is here, it is real, and it is running rampant. Because of all that, because of the governor's response, our district has asked us to change how we do things. Both the governor and our district want us to be able to worship freely. That is without question. And I'm so grateful that our governor wants us to do that. However, the district is asking us to be good stewards of what we have been given with our health. And so the district has asked that we don't do any additional events. If we do, we limit it to the restrictions that the governor has placed upon everybody else. And I'll tell you, over the past 24 hours, I have been in prayer. I've had a number of discussions with different individuals, and we have come up with a plan. So, South Lake, this is our response. I need you to listen to this. There's a lot of details. I'm going to post a slide that summarizes this. Everybody will be receiving an email as well. But here is our current response. So masks are now going to be required everywhere in the church. I'm sorry, I've got allergies. I'm about ready to sneeze. Masks are going to be required everywhere in the church. So they are not recommended, they are required, meaning if you will come into the lobby, you need to have a mask on. If you go to a class, you will wear the mask in the class. If you come into the sanctuary, it will be worn during the entire worship service. In short, if you're in the church, you have to have a mask on. Until further notice, the well will be closed. We cannot serve coffee or food and protect those from the virus at the same time. We cannot do it in good faith. So we are closing the well. So if you want something to drink, you have to bring that with you. However, I do need to make a note there. That cannot be an excuse to take your mask off. If you bring something in to drink, then you take a drink and you put your mask back on. You cannot leave your mask off. Families are to sit together in the sanctuary, and I'll explain this a little bit more when we get into the Kids Town and the student portion of this video. But if you have children, they need to sit with you. And here's what we're going to do. As you enter the sanctuary, so if you go to the door to the right of the well, or what we would call stage left, that is going to be where families will sit. So if you have a family, we want you to sit on that side of the church, and I'll point that out in a second. If you are older, if you have a compromised immune system, we're going to ask you to enter on the left side of the well, or stage right, and sit in that area. We are trying to separate Our children who have been in contact with other kids, or there's a greater risk associated with children that just naturally comes with them. And we're trying to put everyone with children and families on the one side of the church, and those that are older or elderly or compromised immune systems will sit on the other side of the church. Okay, South Lake, I'm standing here at the well, and I just want to explain real quickly, if you are older or have a compromised immune system, as you approach the well, we want you to go in that door and sit on that side of the sanctuary. If you have a family here, if you have children and they're attending with you, we're going to ask that you go in on the right side of the well and sit on that side of the sanctuary. So church, for further clarification, as you come into the sanctuary, there's our two doors that come in from the well. So if you are older or have a compromised immune system, we want you to sit in these two locations. Now, if you have a family with children, we're going to ask you to come in through these doors and sit over here on this side. And if you are not concerned and just feel comfortable sitting, as long as you don't have children, you can sit anywhere in this section in the middle. For this duration, the nursery is going to be closed. There is no way that we can protect an infant. The parent can do the best job of that. So if you have an infant, we still want you to come here. You can go into the mother's room. That is secluded. It's by itself. So we actually encourage that. You would be there. You can do that, or you can feel free to sit in the sanctuary if you so choose. But the nursery will be closed until further notice. All 9 a.m. classes are going to remain open. We will still have Sunday school. We're still meeting at 9 a.m., but while you're in those classes, regardless what age you are going to have to wear a mask. So let me jump to Kidstown. Kidstown, as I just said, will remain open for the 9 a.m. classes only. If you have children that are in the 2nd through 5th grade in Maggie's class, they are going to meet in the big room from here on out, because that way we can social distance. That is our largest group of children, and the only way we can social distance is if we put them in the big room in the back, and so that's where they're going to be. You need to instruct your children that they have to wear a face mask, so they need to bring them, and they are going to have to wear them while they are back there in Kidstown. Kidstown is going to be closed for the worship service. So what this means is by no later than 10:15, you have to pick up your child from Kidstown and bring them into the sanctuary. Now, I need to be clear on this. The parent or guardian, legal guardian, needs to pick up the child. You cannot send your older children back to Kidstown to pick up your younger children. We will not release them. There is a legal reason and a security reason for this. So the parent or the guardian must go back to Kidstown and get your children by 10:15. For our students, meaning our junior high and high schoolers, we are still having the 9 a.m. classes. Masks are going to be required back there. We need a social distance, and we can do that in the youth room. We will still have Thursday night meetings. We're still going to do that. We are even still looking at maybe doing some activities with our youth, as long as we can continue to wear masks and social distance. So stay tuned for further announcements there. So how does this impact us in other ways? Sadly, church, I had to make a decision last night that our piano concert that was scheduled for Sunday afternoon is canceled. We cannot hold that. Our district has asked us to cancel all events, or at least meet them under the guidelines that the rest of the state has to meet. And we just felt that it was going to be too burdensome and unwise of us to do that. So the piano concert is canceled. Family Day is canceled. So that particular Sunday will just be like every other Sunday. We will not be meeting for breakfast or anything like that on that particular morning. This also affects our Christmas program. We will have a Christmas program, but sadly, our children will not be a part of it this year. There's no way that we can fill our stage with children and maintain social distancing. So they will not be a part of our Christmas program this year. However, we still will have a Christmas program. Now, this question has come up in the past and I want to address it. Why does everyone else have to wear a mask, but the worship team and the pastor, myself, do not when we're on stage? Quite simply, distance. Our worship team, when they sing, in order for them to be able to sing and worship, can't do that effectively, at least, with a mask on. They are at a minimum of 15 to 20 feet away from any person in the sanctuary. So when they are on stage, they will not be wearing a mask so that you can hear them sing. When they come off stage, they will be in a mask. The same rule applies for me. When I am on stage, I am at least 15 feet away from the first person. And in order that you can hear me and it doesn't interfere with my microphone, I will not be wearing a mask when I'm on stage. However, at all other times, as your pastor, as the leader of this church, I will be wearing a mask. So hopefully that explains that. Church, I want you to hear this. We're taking all these steps to protect the church. We want to be able to continue to worship at Southlake. We have to recognize, and I do not want anybody to forget this, just how blessed we are. We have only had a limited number of COVID cases in this church. And for the two that occurred that were in the church, they didn't know they had COVID when they were in the church, but they were in the church when they were positive. It was isolated to them, meaning no one else got it. So we have been incredibly blessed. When we look at other churches, I want you to recognize there are churches that closed down for COVID back in the spring and have never reopened. That is a truth in our area. They haven't. We have had churches that have opened and then had to shut down for weeks on end. We have had churches that there have been dozens upon dozens of people in the congregation that have come down with COVID. Southlake, we have been blessed. So we can't look at this as something negative. We have to look at this as we're going to set an example for our community, for other Christians, that we're going to do our absolute best, to protect those in the church so that we can continue to worship. We do not want to close the doors of Southlake. So I'm asking you to be an example for others to follow. I'm asking you to understand this virus is out of control in Indiana. I'm asking you to be loving, to be kind, to adhere to all these rules. Church, you have a choice. If you don't agree with this, you can stay home. You can watch us online. We still want you to be a part of the church. We're not angry. We're not upset at you if you don't agree with this decision. I understand how people feel about this. But as the pastor of this church, I want us to continue to receive God's blessing. And I feel the best way to do that right now is to take these steps. So church, please join me. Be in prayer over Southlake. Be in prayer over everyone's health, that no one fall ill, that no one die in this church because of COVID. Southlake, I love you, and I want you to remember this. This is my last statement. We will not live in a spirit of fear of this. Don't take this as the virus is running rampant at Southlake, so that way I'm not going to come in. We have been blessed. No one here is sick and infecting other people. So you are safe if you follow these precautions. Come in, worship. and be a part of the church. Help us remain open. So I love you, and I can't wait to share the message with you Sunday. We've got something really, really important to share at the end of the service, so please join us. God bless you.